Jared from Strongest Farm. It's Friday evening, just got home from work. This is gonna be a weekend work video. It'll cover the whole weekend, everything we do. We've got a lot of little projects, a lot of little farm things we have to do and projects that we're working on. So we're gonna go move some animals, do our normal Friday evening chores. It's about 4:30 now. And then we're gonna get working in our freezer farm store room, painting the ceiling. And that'll kind of be the main event this weekend, is working on the painting in this room. So if you've never seen how to spray metal, do the paint on that, you'll get to see that. That's what's coming up in this major part of the video. And then we're also gonna be painting some on this wall with our pegboard inside our shop. And now, as I'm making this, I just realized I'm wearing the exact same outfit that I wore in my last video. These are my painting shirts. These old Army shirts are about 25 years old and they got paint on them. And so when I paint, I wear the same shirt. I do change my clothes, I promise. Stick around. All right, so this is the alley. We were at the other end of it. We come down here. So I got to bring all those cows this way. And then where they're at in this alley, the alley kind of wraps around this field and goes to the back edge of this field. It's not a square farm, and it's broken up by drainage ditches and things. It's just the way the fence works here. But I don't want the cows to go that way. I want them to come past where their wire was, go up through this pathway in the woods here and go to this back field. And so I have some of these smaller reels from, I think Gallagher makes them, but I've got these from Powerflex Fence. These are pretty handy. They're cheap, they're junky, but they're nice for little things like this. If you only need to run a couple 100 feet, these are kind of nice. They're very slow because they don't multi-roll, but I use these for stuff like this, or if I need to just wrap around a tree or something small where I don't want the cows to get in, I'll use these. So what we're gonna do is hook a fence here and go up to the opening to that pasture that's also fenced, just because I don't wanna chase one cantankerous cow that decides she wants to go into the woods today. I don't feel like doing that. Take the 5 minutes, set the fence up, open this little piece of rope, poly wire up here, and then they'll go up there and we'll get them into that new pasture. So this is that back pasture we were talking about. It's fenced all the way around it. It's probably 1.5 acres here. They'll be here for a good 2 days. I doubt I get 3, but I'd like to, but probably 2. So we've got this rope just keeping them from going in this little patch here, keeping them from going in this woods. And this fence is not on whatsoever. This is super chintzy. There's not even any stakes. I just literally hung it on briars and weeds and just enough to keep it up off the ground so they can see it. They respect the wire. When you have this is what I found, when I have a hot transformer or hot electric fence charger, they respect it. They don't want to get hit with 8,000 volts, whatever it is. I have a Speed Right i6000. I wish I would have went with the i9000. We do have 30 acres here. And so the i6000 is supposed to be good for 60 acres. If you have multiple fences in and out and multiple runs of wire and you're using portable poly wire, it has to heat all that. So that i6000, that's 60 acres. To me, that would only do one rand of wire all the way around 60 acres. It doesn't necessarily cover all the wire inside. So for as much wire as we have here and preparing for the growth of our farm with this new farm we have, the i9000 is probably what I should have bought. I bought the remote. I love the remote. It's good as well. You can turn the fence on and off. It's also your tester and all those things. So always go larger. That's kind of what I have learned. It works great for me, but as the farm grows, I'm wondering if it's going to be not enough. Come on, cows. Let's go. Come on, cows. They're coming. They've learned to come to the call. I try to say the same thing every time. Nothing fancy here. I'm not winning any competitions with that. Come on, cows. Here they come. Then they'll follow the gator up through there. Come on, cows. All right, so Greg Judy says if they come in and they put their head down right away and they start eating and they don't keep moving, they're hungry. And so I'm not sure I 100% believe that. When you look at we're on the wrong side of them to really look at their rumen. They're continuing to come in. They're not standing right there at that gate. So I think I've done a good job of deciding to move them in today. That's kind of the way I judge it. They're all getting pretty fleshy, or staying pretty fleshy. There's that one with that hair issue again from that last video. If you got any idea what this is, it's not lice, it's not mites. It's not aphasia, or I don't believe it's aphasia. I'm hoping it's not aphasia. If it's aphasia, it shouldn't affect her. She just has this hair issue. It's a genetic issue. But if it is, at least we know what it is. But we're going with vitamin deficiency at this point. And we have the Free Choice Enterprises minerals. But, maybe she's not able to absorb. So we're going to maybe try that multimin. Here's my favorite baby calf coming up here. Not my wife, the other calf, but come here, baby. So I have touched her every day since birth. And come here. Now it's your own film. You want to run to mama. Every day I pet her, and she normally will come up and rub against me. But she just moved quite a bit distance. So we're going to set this water and we'll be done out here. Shut the fence up and they'll be good out here. We have our water running out here now. This is my preferred method. And we got some water leakage out of the hose, it looks like. My wife's hands just aren't quite as strong as mine. But instead of having an automatic water that the cows always come to the same spot, I prefer this method here where we have a tank. We can move it anywhere along the fence with a length of hose. Now, I only have a 6-foot length of hose in the gator this time, and they were on that side last time. You can see a little bit of a bare spot. So I've just moved them over. I wish I could be 25 feet away, but I like this method. I like having these Rubbermaid tanks are pretty good. I go with the Joby water flow. The main thing is that you check the string, the tightness of the string every time. That's important for me because that's come loose on me. I don't want super high pressure out here. I want it to feel slow. And I make sure that the level of the ground is going back towards the end that the filter is coming in. This tank had a porthole made into it, molded into it. And I probably should have used that, but my logic was if the tank was perpendicular to the fence, more cows could get around it. So I've seen 6 cows around it when it's this way and only 3 when it goes horizontal. So if I put the valve on that side, I kind of thought, okay, there's only 3, maybe 4 cows can get here, and then they want to push and they can just break stuff when they do that. So I went ahead and drilled the hole back there in a thick spot of the plastic and put it so I could put this perpendicular. I don't know if it's a good idea. You tell me what you think there. I don't even know that it matters. It's probably safer to use the port that Rubbermaid gives you. That's probably a stronger entry port, probably less likely to leak. But with the bulkhead fitting that comes with the Joby, the way it goes, I have never had that leak on that side. So that's just my 2 cents there. I usually wait for this to fill about just past the ball valve, make sure the string is not going to get caught. I've had that happen, then it stays open. And then we'll leave. And that way there's enough water in there, the cows aren't going to knock it over. They've obviously had enough water. They're not coming and running for it. And then we can leave, and then it'll fill the rest of the way up and shut itself off. And they'll be here for 2 days. So tomorrow night, when I come out and check it, I'll leave it on. But on Sunday afternoon after church, so today's Friday, Saturday night they'll stay. Sunday night I'll come check the grass. If I think, okay, they need to be moved Sunday night, Sunday after church, I'll shut this off and let them drink it down so I don't waste as much water. If I think, okay, I'm going to leave them till Monday night when I get home from work, I'll shut it off, leave them here a couple extra hours. And normally my moves is between 4 and 5. This is usually the first thing I do every day. And then I'll move them Monday night. But I'm pretty sure because of the height of the grass, this was grazed 40 days ago. And then I bush hogged it tight because this field had a lot of ironweed, which you might be able to tell out here. So not as much vegetation here, and I'm gonna graze this once more before we go in for the winter and feed hay. I'll probably even unroll some hay out here. So probably only 2 days here. So Sunday after church, shut the water off, Sunday night, move them. All right, we're gonna start spraying in here. I'm not sure how to really do a time lapse with paint and my phone and all that. So I'm probably just gonna show you what I'm gonna do, show you the before and the after. I'm using a Behr product that I got from Lowe's. It's direct metal paint. This is what they recommended. Let me know if there's something better. I'm sure I could have went to the Sherwin-Williams store and those guys are more knowledgeable. But this is what I had. It was a good deal, it seemed like. And so that's the paint I got. I'm using a Wagner Power Painter. It's supposed to be an airless painter. This is my buddy's. I don't own this. These things are like $150, but it'll get this nasty baby poop green to turn white and be shiny and look nice. And if you didn't watch my last video, the only reason I bought this metal the wrong color was it was like 60 cents a linear foot versus the $3 to $3.30 that I typically pay for barn metal. And so for the deal, I thought, man, I can slap it up there. It's inside a building. It's not going to corrode. It's not anything super particular. And then I can paint it. And so that was kind of the goal. And so I'm going to get started on this. I do have a suit that I got from Harbor Freight. I will try to take a little bit of a video while I'm doing this. Basically, I'm going to mix this paint up, put it in the reservoir, put it on that power painter, and start spraying away. It's going to be too late at this time for you to give me advice because I'm getting ready to do it right now. But I'm kind of wondering if I should tape off. The walls have the PVA primer on my drywall, but I'm wondering if I should tape off because if you spray, it's going to be a nice, thin gloss of paint on the wall. And then I'm going to go back with a roller and a brush and paint the walls the color. It's actually going to be matched this gray color here behind me. And I'm worried about, will you notice where that spray mark went up against the wall? I'm hoping the roller marks with the wall paint will cover that up and it'll blend, you'll never notice it. But I don't know. So it's a shop and it's going to be where our freezers are at and where we pass out meat. I want it to look as nice as it can, but it is a shop. So I'm going to get going on that. Well, it looks good. The ceiling has come out fairly well. I walked through it with a light, put 2 coats on, and I also got a bunch on my face. So I did have a whole body suit. It looks like I've been snorting crack or something. Actually, I think that's supposed to be cocaine. I don't know anything about drugs. All right, so now it's wash up time. And I'll tell you about these Wagner and the Magnum and all these airless sprayers from my experience. Man, did I get grayer or is that paint? It takes twice as long to clean them as you use them for a job, especially something small like this. And the other thing I have found about these sprayers is that it takes about twice as much paint as you would think. So even on drywall, when I'm spraying drywall with a big Magnum sprayer, I feel like I go through paint like crazy. And the suits, I mean, no need to go to the gym. I already got my sauna in today. Those suits do not breathe well. So now we're just gonna clean up. I don't think you need to see that. It's water and soap and brushes and it's gonna be all right. We're gonna call it a night for Friday night. And I have to go in, I have to practice bass for church on Sunday. I've gotta do some other things and paperwork tonight. And so it's probably 7:15, a little bit earlier night on a Friday night. We try to do family, fun night on Friday night. That's how we try to keep from getting burnt out on the farm, which will happen if you don't watch. I have a question for you though. This room is 12 by 22 and I've got an outlet down there at this end on the ceiling, which is tied to this switch. And I'm thinking I'm just gonna run one single strip of lights down through here. We got an 8-foot ceiling and 12-foot wide, and I think that's too much for 2 strips. I don't want to be blaring myself out of there, especially with the white ceiling. So I'm thinking 1 strip will be enough. The walls are going to have freezers on them, so they're going to stick out 3 feet anyways. There's only going to be 6 foot in the center that really needs a ton of light. And then I'll have another little light back on the desk that'll be there in the front there, corner by that door. So let me know what you think. If you think I need more than that, I haven't ordered those yet. If I should do some kind of different lighting, but that's my plan, is to just do that quick strip 8 foot. I'm going to do 16 foot of it actually in there, connect them, butt them up together and roll those out. Let me know what you think on that down in the comments. But we're done for the night. All the chores are done. I did check the pigs and the chickens and didn't show that on video. Been focusing mainly on this. I'm gonna go check the meat birds one last time tonight before I go in, and they should be good. We're planning on butchering those mid next week. So we'll see you here in the morning. We're back at it Saturday morning. Had an unexpected event this morning. So, life comes in the way. And so we had to go to a track meet or a cross country meet for my son. It was a championship meet. It's hard to fit farm life and sports and schools and all that stuff. Our kids do go to the public school where my wife teaches. And so that cuts into farming, and farming cuts into family life sometimes. But this morning, thought it was necessary. It was the last meet. I try to go to 3 or 4 a year. He has 12 or 15. And so we went to that. Here's a little clip of him running. But on a positive note, Lowe's was in the same town where the track meet or cross country meet was. So we went and got the paint. We are going to start painting this morning. So the goal is to get all the walls painted in here. Ceiling turned out okay. It's fine for a shop or a cattle barn or something like that. I wouldn't do this in a house. Well, one, because it's metal and it looks kind of, rustic, but painting it, there's a few runs. And when I fixed spots with a brush and then went back and painted over it, you can tell those brush strokes where everything else is shiny. So it's not as easy as painting. What probably should have been done is a light coat put on and then clean all your equipment up, and the next day come back and put on the second coat. But it took me just as long to clean that Wagner power, sprayer as it did to paint. So I didn't want to waste all that time. So I just kind of waited 15 or 20 minutes between coats, and it took probably a half an hour to 45 minutes to coat the whole room slowly anyways. So there was probably an hour break, and it really wasn't enough. I've got a few runs, and I'm a little OCD about it. I could go in and sand those and hit those spots again, but I'm not gonna, because it's just our farm store and it's a rustic room in our shop. But we're gonna get these walls painted. I got some spots here where I ran out of paint last time where the store is gonna go in. I'm gonna get that painted. I'm gonna come out here and we're gonna paint this pegboard to make it match the walls. And then I gotta paint the baseboard line on this. And so we'll get all this painted. I'll show a quick clip of that, but then we'll get working on here. And then the plan is once it's all painted today, we'll do some farm chores to make sure that they're done. And then we are gonna start working on these tables out here, which is coming from in this room. So this was an old tool room, I guess is what the guy used it for. And it's been a junk room for us. There's tool stuff and equipment and stuff gets piled, but this is all gonna be cleared out and become a welding room. But I have to gut all these walls so behind this plywood is just nasty. So I've got to gut it all, spray foam it, and then build studs back in. There's a window back there. My preference, my theory is that windows are stupid in shops. It's nice to have some natural light in, but it's a very easy place for somebody to break in. So if it's higher than they can climb up to, maybe, but I'm gonna take that window out either way. Nobody's gonna break into my shop and steal my tools because they think that their money and drugs are more important than my life. So I'm blocking that off. But this is all gonna be gutted, rewire, finish the wiring, a little bit of wiring left that I have to do, but that's where we're at right now. So we're gonna keep going. All right, we got this all done. 2 coats on the pegboard here, and we've painted in this room. Here's some things I've learned about me and being a painter. You can check out this room here. So I'm pretty happy with this. This needs another coat. Everything out here is pretty good. So for me, spending an extra $5 to $10 on a good paintbrush is very important. So I use these Wooster Pros or Purdy has a really good paintbrush, but you can buy the cheap Walmart brushes, but spending $18 on a good brush, I've never gone wrong there. It makes me faster. It makes me able to cut in. They clean better. They last longer. I've probably had that brush for 4 years. I don't paint every day. If I was to paint a whole house as a project, I would go ahead and buy 2 brushes for the house and quote that into the quote with the paint and the materials, and use it for that. The other thing is a good extendable handle. That's my second one of those Purdy's. They work really well. The other one that I had, it was kind of spring loaded. I liked it a little better than this one. And when you extended it, it like double extended faster. I don't know. It was a better one than that. But you need a good one, or I need a good one. That's what I prefer to have. And then rollers. Painting, I have found when I'm painting OSB. So this is OSB on this wall. It's a cheap way to get a covering on a wall and not have to put drywall out in the shop. But when you're rolling, or when I'm rolling the paint on the OSB, I like a 1/2 inch nap, a little deeper. It's like $2 or $3 more for a pack of 3 roll on the pads. These are the roller pads. But typical drywall, I use a 3/8 nap, which is a standard kind of contractor nap when it comes to the roller pads. Rolling pegboard. I have learned to use the 3/8 nap and be very light on the paint. So when I stick my roller in the pan on drywall, I get as much on there as I can, and I do from top to bottom, and I roll it in really good. With pegboard, I go really light, and even if I only get one pass and take my time with it, otherwise I get all these runs around these screws and around the holes, and so I try to go lighter. I use normal drywall screws because they were free and extra, and they were the coarse threaded on this. Drywall screws are like duct tape to me. It's like the cheapest thing you can use screw-wise, and I think they're junk, and they're made for drywall, and that's the only place they should be used. But they were free, and they did all right here. But I don't know if you can see that. I put a washer on every drywall screw to kind of help this pegboard, and it has furring strips all the way around the outer edge, and then one run in the center down through here to kind of hold it. And it's wetter, I would show you, but it keeps it from flexing a lot on the wall. I painted behind the wall first, then put the pegboard up, and then painted the pegboard. It helps it blend in better and makes it look a little better. But those screws and the washers, those are probably every 6 to 7, 8 inches there at the most, a screw. So lots of screws, lots of washers, and the washers help it from pulling through. And you can't put pegs in the holes where the furring strip is behind anyway. So even if you had like a 1 inch wide washer, I've used those before on these pegboard projects. The washers really help there. So I'm not a professional painter. I have painted a lot of houses that I've built or that I've done projects in. I've done a lot of remodeling stuff that I've painted, and of course all my own stuff. The best painting advice I could give you is to hire it done, because the professional painters do such a better job. They're way cleaner, they're way faster, and it typically looks a lot better. But I've done this enough that I'm a little OCD with everything, but I can make myself happy in painting. So those are just a few things. Buy good quality stuff. All right, it's about 5:30, letting that dry. Gonna clean up in there a little bit before I go in for the night, but it's chore time. And so the kids are all gone to some church festival. It's like they've been running the roads all day, and so this is left for Dad by himself. So out here we have a few butcher steers out there, and I have one feeder calf that had something wrong with her leg. When she was born, she was kind of like that. She kind of limped. Looked at it, they couldn't tell. They thought it would just grow out. She never has. So I've kept her to where she doesn't walk a lot, just trying to help her heal. If she's moving through paddocks, she tends to walk more. So I've kept her up here. They have a bale of hay, but they are getting moved in paddocks kind of around the barn area here. But I don't have to move them as fast. I only move these guys once a week. And so I've got like 3 of them up here. Got a cow that I want to stay away from the bull for timing. One steer that's going to be butchered soon. And then that limpy, we call her, heifer up here. So I'm going to go through here, do the waterers, check on the pigs real quick, and then we'll go out to the pasture. All right, we're out here checking our cows. Listen to this cow. I don't know if you can hear her breathing there hard. several of them are doing that right now because they've just kind of got up for the evening. You know, it's 5:30 or whatever time it is now, and their bellies are full. They laid around kind of during the day, and they're doing kind of their eating that cows eat around here. I hear about 8 hours a day, but if you get them up and move them, they'll eat more than that. And so that is one proponent for moving cows multiple times a day. I just choose not to do that. When you look out here, this pasture is probably the worst pasture on the whole farm. Ironweed and stuff, you kind of looked at it yesterday, but after one day of grazing, they've got some spots that are eaten down pretty hard, but there's still quite a bit of forage out here. And so the first day was kind of selective grazing. They ran around, they ate kind of what they wanted, but they have pretty good manure distribution, so it's everywhere. But there's quite a bit of forage, and it looks like they've grazed way more on this side of the pasture than they have back here towards these trees. And maybe that's because those trees aren't getting enough, you know, around those trees, they don't get as much sun. So that grass has, you know, different minerals and nutrients. Plus those trees and the briars along that fence back there, that's an area that I have to clean. I'm sure it's taking nutrients away from the soil a good 8 or 10 feet. But during the heat of the summer, they'll graze this half more towards this woods because they'll stay closer to those trees, especially in the evening, and they'll just not want to come away from them. They want to graze in the shade and be lazy, whatever it is. But it's pretty even, but I'm really happy. We definitely can't leave them 3 days here though. So I'm going to come out. I have to check the water. So I do this every day. It's automatic. They have the water there, but you never know when they're going to bust a hose or something's going to happen. So I check it every day. 30 head, there's like 32 here right now if we count calves. There's 32 head of cattle here. We're probably running about 23,000 pounds, so 23 animal units, because we have some larger steers and our bull's 1,400 pounds, maybe 25,000. So on 30 acres, running 25,000 pounds of animals, that would be the same as if you had 25 cows. If you're raising 1,500 pound cows, you're probably only going to have, you know, 15 to 20 on this farm. But we have quite a bit of extra grazing, quite a bit of extra grass this year. I'm not stocked as high as I need to be due to the drought. I wanted to buy more. I think I can have 4 to 6 more here, but with the drought this year, I just went ahead and played it safe. And it's going to help me here as we go into the winter. So pretty happy with that. But we're going to have to move these cows tomorrow. So we checked on them. Everything's good. Just so you're aware, 25,000 pounds of cattle. We're going through 12,000 gallons of water a month. And so I've ran it over once, call that 500 gallons I wasted. But we're averaging between 11 and 12,000 gallons a month through the heat. It'll go a little less than that. I'd say we'll be down in the 10,000 range this month as we've been nice and cool here in October. And about 2,000 of that is my family. So washing and the normal stuff. Yesterday I didn't show this. When we left, we went ahead and set up this line. And so this is the next paddock that they'll be in. I've already got the shade structure and mineral in there. They've got good shade over where we just saw. And I think it's fine for them to be without mineral and salt for a day. Tell me if I'm wrong there. If you say no, 1 day is enough to hurt them, let me know. But, you know, it's going to be 2 days here without salt and minerals. So they'll come back in, and I know when we go 2 or 3 days without it, they'll hit it a little harder, but not bad. And so that's my logic and philosophy why I say it's 1 or 2 days isn't a big deal. But if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. But the other reason I did this, and so if I would come out and set this paddock up, especially if they were here and I'm setting up a fence over here, they'll stand and they'll bawl. And if they watch me set up the paddock that they're going into, I seem to have a little more trouble with them. So I try to have it set up, move them to fresh grass, and then if I want to set up more paddocks, I can do that. And I just think that helps with stress. You can let me know what you think on that, but the more they bawl, the more they stand, the harder they run through. I'm just trying to prevent stress as much as I can to have the most tender meat we can. And this is one thing that I do to kind of help me with that. All right, we're going to call it quits for Saturday evening. I got to practice base again. I was bad about it this week and put it off. Checked all the meat birds. They are up here right next to the house and the gun range. It's very convenient. Only thing is that my bedroom window is right there, and last night I heard something out here, and so I come out freaking out thinking, something's getting the chickens. But they're good, they're safe. We are at 8.5 weeks old. They are big, and they probably should be butchered now, but we're gonna let them go a few more days, and then I'll butcher those, and I'll show you, hopefully get a video made on how we do that. There's only 8 left. The rest of them went to the fair. And my kids are, what are you, rollerblading? No, skating and using a skateboard.
Rollerblading, you have 4 down on the sides. I have 2, and I keep it corners. Roller skating is like move it. This is just like 4 wheels. So yeah, bye.
Thanks for the info. So have a good night. All right, it's Sunday, so day did not go as planned, and you might see if I keep making videos like this where it's just what we do. That's a common theme with us, and it's a common theme on a farm, I think. But we had a longer church experience today than we expected, so we get home a little later. We didn't get to do a lot of videoing because the kids and I kind of divided and conquered on the chores. The only thing we have left to do when we shut the water off earlier is to go back out and move cows, and we're going to do that right now. So the other thing that happened today was I had some unexpected customers show up for some meat. And so it's what we do. We sell meat. And so I want to kind of talk a little bit about that. I think that's, if you're in this game, it's kind of what people are looking at, how we do that and how we build a market and how to get started and how do you fulfill that and what advantages and disadvantages. And so I'll talk a few seconds here about that. So as I started thinking and talking about how we sell beef, I need to make that a whole video. That's going to take way too long. And so I'm going to tell you the 3 ways, and then know that a video is coming very shortly with how I do that. And so there's 3 main ways. 1, like everybody else, we sell halves and wholes. And so you can buy a side of an animal. Our fee is the entire thing is included. So the price of the beef or pork and the butcher fee is all in one fee. So there are people that say, oh man, you're $1 higher than everybody else. Yeah, well, when you go to somebody else, they're charging you for the beef, and then you have to go to the butcher and pay the butcher fee. With us, it's all in the same one, and it comes out to be about the same. So for instance, I am averaging somewhere between $1 and $1.07 per pound on my butcher fees. So if you charge $4 a pound, and then I also have to pay the butcher fee, and you're charging, that's $5, $5.05 if you're charging $5. So most people around here charge $5 a pound hanging weight for grain-fed beef, and then I also have to pay the butcher. For my grass-fed beef, I'm charging $6 a pound, which we haven't raised our prices in 5 years, and I probably need to. But $6 a pound, it's all included. So you're getting the butcher fee. You can get it butchered however you want. Get patties, get brats, get whatever, and it's all in that same price. You only pay 1 check. It's easier. You don't have to think about it. It goes directly off the weight. You know you're not being cheated on anything special. And so our customers like that better. So we sell halves and wholes. That's number 1. Number 2 is we sell a membership, which you're going to need to watch a video to explain this, but basically you pay an upfront fee at the beginning of the year, and then you come every month and get a box of meat. And then the last way is retail. We go to a special butcher. Our meat has a special stamp on it that allows me in the state of Ohio to sell 1 piece of meat because it has a USDA stamp on it. I drive an hour and 45 minutes one way to a butcher to get this done, that I trust this butcher, and we've been there 15 years. And so it allows us to sell retail. There's lots of pros and cons. I'll go over it in the other video, but no, retail is hard. There is a little bit more money to be made in retail, but the amount of money that you make isn't necessarily a normal farm profit margin because you spend a lot more time boxing and all those things. So that's what I have to say about the different ways. Look for that upcoming video. All right, enough of that talking. So sorry that was long. Hope that helped you if you wanted it, but we're gonna go move some cows. Let's get that done. All right, we're out here to move cows. They're ready to move. They're not balling hard. We shut this water off early. They didn't drink a lot. It went down about 4 inches, but we didn't get shut off till like 2:30 or 3, and it's 6 o'clock now, 5:36 now. So they didn't drink as much. It's not hot. Funny thing is, up there where they can go out, that gate is open. They could come out of here if they wanted to, but they're so used to that fence being there and that gate, those electrical rope gates being up, they're not going to go unless I call them through there, unless I pull them through with the gator. It's pretty rare. Now, if we left them for the night and just left that open, they would eventually find their way through, but they'll follow us. We're going to have to tip this water over, dump it out, unhook it all, put it in the gator, and then drive to the next paddock. The one advantage of being friendly with your steers and touching them all the time is that they're like this, but he doesn't realize how big he is, and he'll want to push against me sometimes. I don't know why he has a lot of flies on him for some reason. He's looking a little thin today, but we're gonna get moving now. Get these guys out of here. Come on, cows! So they're slow, but they're coming. I only called 4 times that time, and they heard me. And they wouldn't go through that gate before, but since I just drove through there and I called them, it's like they're not even hesitating. They're getting it now. So we're gonna go up here, turn, go into the next paddock, and they'll follow the gator right in there. Pretty common thing. Come on, cows. So this is a little goofy spot. They had to come down this fence line this way, come wrap around and come into this gate and then come into where we're at now. So sometimes, because the cows, the gates and the visual awareness and stuff, you'll have a group of cows coming through this gate into this field, and they'll go down this fence line, and then the cows on the other side of that fence will tend to still follow them, and they don't understand to keep following the train down here and around. So you'll have that sometimes. But for the most part, they're all coming. I've got Ruger back there at the back end, my middle son, and he's pushing them all this way as they come. So they will have this area over here in the woods, little shaded area roped off. They've also got the shade structure out there, but we'll put the water right down here. And so they're gonna have water on both sides of the fence, water in a shaded area, and then some nice new pasture out here. So you can see they came in, they spread out. They're not got their head down at the gate. They had plenty of food coming in, so we were good on our date there. If you look right here, so I'm gonna try to point right in there on that cow, actually more like right here on her hip is where her rumen stomach is, right in front of that hip bone. So that's kind of where I look. If you're on that left side of the animal, I look at them all there, and that's kind of how I tell if they're hungry, if their stomach's full. So think about that as like, oh, my stomach's full. That's where all that grass goes at the end point there and causes them to be full, or if that's empty and sunk in, you know they're hungry. But they're all definitely happy. I mean, their heads are down, they're eating, they're good, they're all fleshy. I got one that's got a bigger calf on her. She looks a little thin, but I'm not worried about her. She's been an excellent mom all the time. So we're gonna wrap it up. We got the waters over here. One's running, it's half full. The other one we filled up, gave them a little bit of wood space and shade, got all their stuff in, they're gonna be in. So no worries here, everything's good. We're gonna go into the barn for the night. Well, there you have it. That's a weekend of work here. I like doing videos like this, just showing you what I'm doing versus trying to sell you on something. I feel like when I was researching and trying to say I like this item better than that item, I felt like a little bit like a salesman. But I appreciate you sticking around. If you've watched the whole video, I appreciate that. Please give it a thumbs up. That really puts my video to the top of the feed, helps people find other things. Please comment if you want me to see something specific, how I can do it, and I can make a short, detailed, 5-8 minute video on one specific thing. If you want to see that, please comment down low. Let me know what you think of these. Let me know what you want to see, and I'll hit those up for you when I get time. The video quality doing it like this isn't as high, right? And so I don't have a focused contract or script that I'm reading. And so it's just, this is who I am and what we're doing. I appreciate everything you guys doing, and I hope this stuff that you see helps. Kind of my philosophy as I'm going, what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking about, and how we're working and how much work this is. And so it is now 6:30. I'm gonna finish up. All the animals are done, the chores are done. We've got a little bit done around here today. I have to go get kids from youth group and then come back and cut hair. And so tonight is the boys' haircut night. And then hopefully we're in bed by 9 o'clock. And my wife is doing a youth group training thing tonight at another church. So I'm single dad tonight, cooking dinner and all those things. So that's the life that we've chose to live, and we love it. And this is where we're at. And so hopefully if you're getting involved in this kind of stuff, it tickles your fancy as well. So appreciate you guys watching. Catch us next time.